Were you familiar with this, the Watcher before you, The Witcher?
The Witcher,
before you started?
I hadn't seen the TV show, and I hadn't read the book.
Back
They
in
should have just canceled it.
It was and there were more than a few outlets and fans.
I don't know why Netflix would have even continued with it, because like it's only going to damage their brand and make them look bad. Like you probably should be paying money to not have it shown.
Saying that possible, actually releasing the show. And let's just
I don't know why they released it. They should have just canceled it. That's fine. But what I'm saying is that a lot of people obviously don't like this type of content.
Netflix's Q2 report came out, and apparently they lost 1 million subscribers in the second quarter of this year, which we already saw that at the beginning of the year, they lost 200,000. The next month, they lost another couple 100,000, and they had projected that they were going to lose a couple million over the next few months.
With headlines flooding every screen in the Netflix headquarters. Bold, bright, and brutal. The Witcher Season 5 confirmed, new Geralt announced, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, fan forums, it all hits at once, a digital tidal wave of screaming reactions, stunned emojis, and 3 words that stab harder than any monster blade. Liam's out, replaced. Inside a quiet room, away from the spin and the PR scripts, Liam Hemsworth is staring at his phone in disbelief. He scrolls, refreshes, scrolls again. Every new post says the same thing in slightly different ways. The Witcher is moving forward without him. And the worst part, the name that keeps appearing alongside the news isn't his. It's Henry Cavill's.
I'm the most annoying guy on set because I'm saying, excuse me, you do realize that this should be happening and they wouldn't do that, and you haven't read this, that means this would be impossible. And everyone's just going, Henry, just shut up and do the thing. And I'm like, I don't want to do the thing because he wouldn't do it this way, and he can do this.
Oh, I can make whatever I want. I've got him on a farm milking people. I'm gonna send him to the ladies with the red bonnets on.
Because everyone can have their version. Everyone shouldn't. Everyone doesn't matter enough to have their version. What matters is the millions upon millions of people which have bought the games, and they deserve to be represented. Lauren doesn't. Lauren's irrelevant. I'm not sure why Lauren's the showrunner. She already scared off the best asset that the series has. Getting rid of Henry Cavill and keeping Lauren would be like losing a Wagyu steak and having it replaced with a carrot.
Witcher was supposed to be 7 seasons, but it was abruptly cut down to 5 after Henry Cavill left, and Lauren Hissrich is lucky she got that. But she does say, are there more stories? Maybe. Well, actually, there's a lot because you skipped them. But this one has to end at this point. So I think it's a nice time for all of us to step back a little bit. And that probably has a lot to do with the audience stepping back a long time ago.
Witcher, 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 there's fish people drowning our sheep in the river.
Sounds like drowners. Gonna need spicy mayo.
Okay.
Oil my blade. Witcher magic for every occasion. Killing monsters is what I do.
Okay, can you hurry?
Witcher! A vampire ate my mom!
A Dracula needs garlic butter.
For months, rumors had swirled that Season 4's reception had shaken Netflix at the highest levels. The backlash was relentless. Fans called it soulless, empty, cosplay with a budget. Liam told himself he could ride it out. He told himself that by Season 5, people would adjust, that they would get used to his face, his walk, his voice as Geralt, that the anger was just temporary static around a big change. But now, as he watches new headlines roll across his screen, the truth becomes impossible to avoid. Netflix didn't believe that anymore. They didn't believe in him. Season 5 is being built on his absence. At first, there's pure fury. Liam's jaw tightens. His fingers curl into fists. He paces the room, each step heavier than the last. This isn't how it was supposed to go. This was supposed to be his big fantasy franchise, his chance to step out of other people's shadows. Instead, all the world seems to see is a failed replacement, a placeholder who couldn't fill the armor. He slams his phone down on the table, the screen lighting up one more time with a notification. Bring back Cavill trends worldwide. Again. It's like the universe is mocking him. He calls his agent. The moment the call connects, the anger spills out. You knew about this? He almost shouts. You knew they were replacing me and didn't tell me? His agent, already exhausted from a morning of damage control, tries to sound measured. They explain that negotiations shifted, that the studio's direction changed, that things moved fast once season 4's numbers came in. Liam doesn't want strategy, he wants someone to blame. They used me, he snaps. They put me in the line of fire, let everyone tear me apart, and now they're just moving on?
My job? Kill monsters. Get coin. Use coin on McDonald's app. Get points. Use points to get free McChicken. Only 1,500 points. Every dollar spent is 100 points. Constant BOGOs. I always leave with a free McChicken. It's like I'm stealing from them.
Stealing? You're a thief. Lemon.
What's this? Oh, I saw this. Henry Cavill says he's not a fan of sex scenes in film and television and believes that they're mostly a bit of a cop-out. Fucking true. Absolutely true.
It's when you have a sense that you're going, is this really necessary? Or is it people just with less clothing on?
Right.
And that's where you start to get more uncomfortable and you're thinking, there's not a performance here. TV show or a movie is just filled with sort of gyrating bodies and you're going, okay,
Right.
But I mean, what is this doing for us apart from the idea of like, oh, naked person, great.
Promote this thing until a month before it came out. They knew that switching from like Henry Cavill to Liam Hemsworth, as downhill as the franchise has gone, everybody knew that even they knew it'd be shit. Were we expecting this? Witcher Season 4 is sitting at 17% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes right now. And I mean, look, the critics are pretty so-so on it as well. Some critics have been lambasting it, but overwhelmingly the fan base who has had an opportunity to watch it has wholeheartedly rejected this thing.
As his agent tries to calm him, mentions spin and new opportunities, the words barely sink in. Liam hears only fragments. The fan sentiment was overwhelming. The studio lost confidence. They want to salvage the IP. Salvage. That word stings more than anything. It means the show, the brand, the world of The Witcher needed saving from him. When the call ends, he doesn't feel reassured. He feels replaced. Not just as Geralt, but as a symbol. It's not just a job he lost, it's an identity he never really earned in the eyes of fans. Meanwhile, social media has already written the narrative for him. Fan edits appear comparing 3 eras: Geralt with Henry Cavill, Geralt with Liam Hemsworth, and Geralt with the new announced actor. In almost every comment, Cavill is treated like the golden standard, the original blueprint that everyone else failed to copy. Nobody should have replaced Henry in the first place, reads one viral post. Another adds, Liam never felt like Geralt, he felt like a guest at a cosplay convention. Liam scrolls past those comments, but each one lands like a punch. The internet isn't just celebrating season 5, they're celebrating that season 5 doesn't include him.
Now I have to.
I think that's just so unfair to the guy. Are we really gonna blame everything and scapegoat this guy? Well, think about it. If the show was so great, why did the first guy leave? It's so unfair.
Millions of people are canceling their Netflix subscriptions. Why Netflix stock is absolutely tanking right now. I mean, it is just collapsing totally in the red. And you can see that it is on a massive downward slope this month. It's cratering.
And I guess bringing in a new White Wolf at this point in the season, a bold move and a tall order for Liam.
And of course, he wanted to honor the character that had already been set up because he knows that he's stepping into a role. But at the same time, he wanted to make sure that his performance was authentic, that it felt like him, that he wasn't playing and mimicking anything. And so
promote this thing until a month before it came out. They knew that switching from like Henry Cavill to Liam Hemsworth, as downhill as the franchise has gone, everybody knew that even they knew it'd be shit. Were we expecting this? Witcher Season 4 is sitting at 17% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
To agree with the responsibility of that lays at the feet of one woman, the aforementioned Lauren Schmidt-Hissrich, who has finally gotten everything she wanted, complete control of an epic fantasy series on Netflix without the shackles of Henry Cavill. And how did it turn out? Well, about as bad as you would expect. It's time to talk about.
And it was not even a year ago where Henry very publicly said that he is committed to doing the planned 7 seasons of the Netflix Witcher on one condition. That condition being that the writers can manage to tell great stories while honoring the source material this show is apparently meant to be based on. Now,
Oh, okay. Well, that actually does fucking indicate something, doesn't it? Let's read this again. Absolutely, he says, and this is a quote, as long as we can keep telling great stories which honor Sapkowski's work. So guess, I wonder what the odds are that a Netflix series isn't going to honor the original content of which the series is built off.
The furious phase lasts a while. Behind closed doors, Liam vents to people around him. He says the writers are to blame, the directing is to blame, the marketing is to blame, anyone and everyone except himself. They gave me garbage scripts, he complains. They wanted a lighter tone. They wanted fake drama that had nothing to do with the books. How am I supposed to fix that with a sword and a wig? On some level, he's not entirely wrong. The creative decisions were a mess. The show had been drifting away from Sapkowski's world long before he showed up, but the fans don't see nuance. They see faces. And in their mind, the face of the downward spiral wasn't a nameless writer in a room, it was him. That fury slowly morphs into something uglier, defensiveness. Interview requests pour in because everyone wants to hear what Liam has to say now that the news is out. His team screens them trying to select the safest ones. They tell him to stay calm, to be professional, to avoid talking about Henry at all. Say you're grateful for the experience, they advise. Say you wish the show the best. But every time Liam practices those lines in his head, they sound hollow. They sound like surrender. He doesn't want to sound grateful, he wants to sound wronged. That short clip gets ripped from the full interview and reposted everywhere. Liam says fan backlash was exaggerated, the headlines scream, comment sections light up in seconds. He still doesn't get it, one viewer writes. The more those same fans double down on their belief that he never respected them in the first place. His defensive posture is meant to protect him, but online, it makes him look blind. Privately, the embarrassment begins sinking in. It hits when he goes out and sees a Witcher shirt on a stranger and it's Henry's face, not his. It hits when he types his own name into a search bar and sees autocomplete suggestions like Liam Hemsworth worst Geralt and Liam recast reaction. It hits when his own family members text him links to articles asking if he's okay. That mixture of concern and pity makes everything worse. He doesn't want to be a tragic figure. He wants to be the guy who proved the world wrong. Instead, he became the example people use in conversations about miscasting. In that embarrassed panic, he starts looking for someone to share the blame. Henry Cavill becomes an easy target in his thoughts. Not because Henry did anything wrong, but because Henry's shadow never left the set. Every interview Liam gave, he was asked about Henry. Every fan conversation mentioned Henry. Every critique compared him to Henry. So in his quieter, weaker moments, Liam finds himself thinking, if Henry hadn't walked away, I'd never be in this position. It's not fair, but it's how resentment works. Instead of focusing on why fans adored Cavill's Geralt, he focuses on how that adoration made his job impossible. But the truth is, Henry didn't sabotage Liam. Henry set a standard. He took a role that could have been superficial and elevated it by treating it like something sacred. He read the books, he respected the lore, he fought with writers to keep the character consistent. Fans sensed that. They felt that devotion every time he walked onto the screen. So when Liam came in without that same energy, through no malicious intention, just lack of connection, the contrast was brutal. And The Witcher wasn't the kind of fandom that forgets. The meltdown phase doesn't happen all at once. It happens in layers over nights spent doom scrolling, over half-finished drafts of statements he thinks about posting and then deletes. At one point, he considers doing a long social media post setting the record straight. In it, he wants to talk about toxic fandom, about how people never gave him a fair chance, about how no actor should be bullied for taking a role. And while some of that has truth in it, his team practically begs him not to post it. You'll just start another war, they tell him, and you won't win that one either. The worst night comes when a fan-made trailer titled The Witcher: The Cavill Cut hits 10 million views in a week. It's just an edit of old clips from seasons 1 to 3, framed as a reminder of how good the show used to feel. The top comment says, I'd rather rewatch Henry walk silently through a forest for 8 episodes than see another season without him. Another says, Season 5 is only happening because they finally realized Henry was the heart of this show. Liam watches the trailer alone. No PR filter, no studio spin. just him and the world's opinion. At some point, he pauses it and whispers to no one, "What more could I have done?" But deep down, he knows the answer might be nothing. Because the problem wasn't effort. It was authenticity. Back in the fan world, season 5 becomes a kind of spiritual reboot. People joke that Netflix finally uninstalled the Liam patch. Others call it the Cavill apology arc, even if Henry himself has nothing to do with it. The new actor is introduced not as better or hotter or cooler, but as someone who is committed to honoring the original vision. The messaging is clear. The studio is retreating from the experiment that failed. Whether they say it out loud or not, they are admitting that replacing Cavill with someone who didn't carry that same reverence was a mistake. Liam sees all of this and feels something new creeping in beneath the anger and humiliation, regret. Not necessarily regret for taking the job, he still believes he could have made it work under different conditions, regret that he didn't approach it the way Henry did, regret that he didn't dive into the books, into the games, into the mythology until it became part of him. Regret that instead of trying to become his own version of Geralt rooted in the lore, he spent so much time trying to survive the comparison. If he's brutally honest with himself, he knows he underestimated the fans. He thought charm and physical commitment would be enough. He didn't understand that in this universe, Geralt isn't just a role. He's a responsibility. One Henry Cavill took seriously from the first moment he put on the silver hair. One Liam didn't fully grasp until he was already drowning. By the time season 5 goes into production, Liam is no longer part of the equation. The show moves on, the studio moves on, the fandom moves on. But the story of his anger, his defensiveness, his private meltdowns, that lingers. Not because people delight in his pain, but because it becomes a lesson in how fragile a modern franchise can be when it strays too far from what made it special. Liam becomes, fairly or unfairly, the symbol of that misstep. For Henry Cavill, somewhere far from the chaos, life moves in the opposite direction. He takes on new roles, builds new worlds, steps deeper into projects where his passion for storytelling and authenticity is welcome instead of resisted. Occasionally, an interviewer will bring up The Witcher in this new season 5 situation. Henry will smile, offer a polite answer about wishing everyone well, and maybe toss in a carefully worded line about respecting the source. Fans will hear more than what he says. They'll hear everything that was missing when he was gone, and that's what really burns Liam, even if he'll never admit it out loud. Henry doesn't need to clap back. He doesn't need to rant. He doesn't need to explain. His history with the role speaks louder than any tweet, any headline, any meltdown ever could. In the eyes of the world, he remains the Witcher who cared, the Witcher who warned them, the Witcher they should have kept. So as the dust settles, Liam Hemsworth is left with a bitter reality. The thing he tried so hard to own will always feel borrowed in hindsight. Fans won't talk about his era, they'll talk about the time they tried to replace Henry. And every time the story of the Witcher's rise, fall, and attempted rebirth gets told, Liam won't be the hero or even the villain. He'll be the cautionary chapter in the middle, the part where everyone finally understood that some characters don't belong to studios. They belong to the people who love them and to the actors who honor them. And in this story, no matter how angry he gets, no matter how loudly he protests, the conclusion remains the same. They didn't just replace Liam Hemsworth in season 5. They course-corrected away from a mistake, and in doing so, they reminded the world why Henry Cavill was never truly replaced at all.